All right, so it's that time. And thank you for all the comments I'm seeing with regards to his story. I really appreciate them too. All right, so we want now to get straight into Mind Your Language. Anthony, I want you to stay because I'm sure you learn a thing or two. Just stay here with me. Willis, it's good to see you. Like I mentioned earlier, looking quite bright in that yellow attire. So, Willis, let's do this. Let's first just have a word on the street, and then we come back to our conversation.
Finala. Vinero. Vinel. Vinel.
Vinli.
Vinyl.
Vinyl. Finally.
All right, so obviously Willis always tells us that it's not good to laugh as your, on your counterparts. But the last one, surely, finally, I mean, that sounds very familiar to me from where I come from. But anyway, Willis, it's good to see you, like I mentioned. How are you doing before we get to the finally words?
Betty, I'm fine, but before I say anything, there is something that I would share with people tonight because I've listened carefully to the story that has been given by Anton Ndiema.
Right.
And in life, I always tell people there are two things that make you very safe in life. That is humility and simplicity. And Ndiema seemed to be an epitome, or what we can call epitome of both. Humility and simplicity, and then he has a very wonderful message that nothing and nobody should keep you down in life. Hope is always the best, Betty. That's a very moving story from Ndiema.
There he goes. Now you're on a split screen with him. You should just take over Mind Your Language. But yes. Anthony, I'm sure he's heard you, and yeah, he's definitely inspired quite a number of us here tonight, Willis. All right, so I want us to get straight into this word, Willis, because even because I have an issue with pronouncing it. So talk to us about this word, V-I-N-Y-L. I've heard vinily. I don't know, it could be the right pronunciation, Willis. Is it?
Well, Betty, you said something very important, which I always say there, that you should never laugh at somebody because you never know. You may be knowing something the wrong way, and that is why I always say, but laughing for learning, that is fine. Anyway, we are talking about a strong plastic that can bend easily, and it is used for making wall, floor, or furniture coverings. And in the past, we used to have what we call records. Some people talk about Santuri and all that, but we talk of this word when we come to, the records and all that. Betty, you don't say vinyl, you don't say vinyl, but we say vinyl.
What?
Vinyl or vinyl. You can say vinyl with that cluster N and L, N, or vinyl with the weak sound, what we call assure. Vinyl or vinyl.
Where? Okay. So I even feel shame on me for laughing at the other guy, but because I obviously did not know how to go about it. Willis, so it's, I
always caution people,
vinyl?
Betty, that don't laugh at anybody in life. Never laugh or try to mock anybody in life because you never know.
For sure.
You never know.
Yeah, there goes my lesson again. So wait, so it's vinyl, yeah?
Yes, vinyl. You can also say vinyl with, as if you are pronouncing N and L at the end. Vinyl or vinyl, the way you said it.
Okay, there we go. I've learned 2 lessons tonight. Willis, moving on to another word here. It's a word that I know as desalination. Is that correct? Desalination.
Don't say lie. Don't have that glide. That diphthong is not there after the sound. You say desalination.
Okay.
Desalination.
Desalination.
Not desalai. Don't say desalai. You say desali. Desalination.
Right.
That is the process of removing salt from seawater.
Okay, got it, Willis. That's another word I've learned tonight. Okay, so now we're going to move to another difficult word. I'll spell this one out. I don't even have an idea. Terpsichorean.
Oh, Betty, that is a formal word. It's technical. That is when you're talking about, a dancer, that is a formal word or a technical word for a dancer. Or when you use it as an adjective, it refers to or it means relating to dancing. Just like you can say Terpsichorean innovation, that is innovating some dance style. So the pronunciation of that word is Terpsichorean. Terpsichorean.
Terpsichorean.
Terpsichorean. Can you say that?
So I will Terpsichorean. So if I'm
that is it, Betty.
So if I'm a dancer, I can call myself I'm a Terpsichorean.
That is a formal word for a dancer, and it can also be used as an adjective to mean relating to dancing. So some of these words, but better remember my advice to people, I always advise people that if you can get an easier word, especially when you are in public communication, always go for the simple word. That is keeping it simple. There are certain words which are too technical to be understood by what we may call, the lowbrow kind of audience. So if you have an alternative word for a word which sounds big, though many people may use very big words to create an impression or to impress people, but it's not always, very important when it comes to language. The essence of a language is communication. And if you use words that would sound like nobody would understand them, people may leave that place saying, did you listen to such bombast? But have you communicated? That is always the most important thing in communication, Betty.
But Willis, there's also the other, angle to this story. Now, like you and I, we do this every Friday. And whenever you're out there, people, want to hear those words. They tell you, teach us a hard word. So for us, I think we're exempt from using, we can actually use this word. So it's okay to say Terpsichorean.
When it comes to our case, you see what we may talk about as the target audience. We are not talking to only the lowbrow audience. We are talking to people, some of whom may even be knowing more than we know, as I told you the other time. That there are people out there who know a lot, only that they don't have the chance to talk about some of these big words. When we talk about jargon, you talk about technical words or terminologies, there are times when you cannot avoid them because to some group of audience or some group of listeners, it's a very useful word. But what I'm trying to give as an advice, you should always adjust your language depending on the audience that you are addressing. Don't use very big words because sometimes you'd be like, sometimes they say in Kiswahili, kumpigia mbuzi guitar.
That's true, Willis.
So, somebody may not be understanding what you're talking about.
All right, Willis, I get you 100%. But also, I'd like to interact with with the people who are following the show on Twitter. If you are a Terpsichorean, just say I. That means you're just a dancer. But anyway, I'm a Terpsichorean too. All right, Willis, we move on to the other words, and I'll spell this one out. Camellia. Camellia, is that correct?
No, you don't say camellia, you say camellia. That is a bush with shiny leaves and white, red or pink flowers. Camellia. So that letter E takes the long sound E. Me. Camellia.
Camellia. Yes. All right, Willis. Moving on to this other word that I personally know it as therapeutic. Is that correct?
Yes, we have that word therapeutic, exactly the way you pronounced it. So, and that is when we are talking about that which is designated to help treat an illness or to help somebody to relax. Therapeutic. But you say therapeutically. That is when we are talking about the adverb. The adverb is therapeutically, but you can also say therapeutically if you find it difficult to say cly. Therapeutically or therapeutically.
Ah, okay. I've learned something
Yes.
also, Willis. Okay, so then there's this other word that I know as impartially. Is that correct, Willis, or is there another shocking revelation that you're going to make tonight?
But you say shally. You're talking about the word which means without taking sides.
That one.
Yes, you say impartially. But Betty, here we have to be a bit attentive, especially our viewers who may want to use these words which I'm going to talk about in relation to the word you've asked. Now, what you've asked me is impartially. Shally. You don't have that glide of sheerly. Sheerly, no. You say shally. Impartially. But you say impartiality. Impartiality.
All right.
Don't say impartiality.
Okay.
So impartial, impartially, and impartiality. Just like you say partial, partially, and partiality.
Okay.
So we have to learn about, that is when we talk of inflections or changing the form of a word for grammatical function. There are those parts that change in pronunciation, Betty.
Inflections, got it. Willis, that was a fantastic explanation to that.
Yes.
So now we'll move to this other word that troubles many of us when we go to a cafe and you want some tea, and this particular snack, croissant, you hear croissant. Is that correct, Willis?
Betty, in the first place, that word is from French. And French speakers may guide us better, but in English, you say croissant. Don't say croissant. Croissant, no. You say croissant. Croissant. A bit tricky because when we don't follow the spelling or the letter sequence the way they are, somebody finds it disturbing.
Yeah.
But what we learn from this, Betty, languages, especially different languages, have different sound systems. You know of the name Henry, like that footballer, that is Thierry Henry. When you see the word that we pronounce as, the one we pronounce as Henri is actually Henry in English. In the English sound system, you simply say Henry. But when you come now to French, you'll hear Henri. So what is important for us to learn here is certain languages differ in terms of the sound systems, or what we may call now the phonology of a language. Are we together, Betty, on that?
We are definitely together, Willis.
You say croissant, not croissant. That is a small sweet roll with a curved shape, eaten especially at breakfast.
All right.
Yes.
Wait, croissant, right?
Croissant.
Yeah.
Croissant.
Croissant.
Yes.
Willis, we've helped very many guys. People will be going on a date tomorrow, you know, give me croissant, not croissant. But anyway, thank you for that. Willis, we want to move on to the words that are coming from our viewers. And I have Susan Mango from Mombasa asking about this word, A-B-O-R-I-G-I-N-E. Is it aborigine? Is that correct, Willis, as we finalize?
Not really, Betty. You say aborigine. Locally, what we've been hearing even in school, when we go to school, right from pre-primary to whichever level you may talk about, it's very common for you to hear aborigine. The aborigines. But Betty, get it from me that this may be a surprise before I come with the other surprise. But the other surprise is not very strong for tonight. But Betty, this word is aborigine, not aborigine the way we said it locally.
Wow.
Aborigine. After saying abo, then have that primary stress, then you say rigini. Just like we're talking about a member of a race of people who are the original people living in a country. Like when we talk about the Aborigines of Australia. Don't say the Aborigines. In history, you must have heard of Aborigines. Aborigines almost everywhere. But get it clearly, Betty, and our dear viewers, this word is pronounced as aborigine. That is now a surprise, and that is why I always say, I wish we had education systems in the world whereby, apart from grammar and vocabulary, people are taken through pronunciation so that we can know them while we are young, and it doesn't sound like something that is strange, when we hear it, when we already, when we've grown up. So the word is aborigine. And Betty, I'll go straight now to the other guys or the other people who have sent in words, sorry for using that informal word, guys, but that is for tonight. Anyway, Kevin Kweyu, you say asphyxiation, asphyxiation. Then you say nuances, then grievous, not grievous. Grotesque, grotesque, not grotesque, and heinous. Heinous, not hyenas. Moha Funky of Wajir, if you like, Wajir, you say Sally, succubus, sedulous, and razzmatazz, razzmatazz. Then John Maina of Amboseli, Windermere or Windermere. Fidel Asol of Bondo, you say teetotaler, teetotaler. Miriam Rono of Eldoret, schedule. In British English, you say schedule. Betty, by the way, I have a small problem on my tongue tonight. If you realize I'm trying to be a bit careful so that I produce the sounds, you know, correctly, because there is something small which I have with my tongue, but I think I've not made so many errors. But our viewers will bear with me in case I make any slight pronunciation mistake. Okay. Now we have Thomas Marwa of Kehancha, Kuria. You say you. A female sheep is a ewe. That is E-W-E, a ewe. Don't say an ewe or an ewe. No, you say a ewe. Dolphin Menge of Arusha, Tanzania, you say apostle, an apostle. But we have apostolic. You also say jostle. Don't say jostle and don't say apostle. Peter Tarus of Kericho, you say married. Commonly, we hear married. Don't say that. Married. Marry, married. The past tense, and in fact also the past participle of marry is married. Just like you say carried from carry, ferried from ferry,
yes.
And you also say worried from the verb worry. Zacchaeus Obanda of Ahero, Kabbalistic. Edmund Kangede of Kiambu, you say lounge. Lounge. Betty, how many people do you hear saying lounge?
Many,
I was at the lounge. That is L-O-U-N-G-E. It's a lounge. Lounge. But we have L-A-U-N-C-H. You say launch, to launch something. Now, Margaret Obaigwa, a.k.a. Afadhali Nyakoe. Afadhali Nyakoe. That's a funny one. Margaret Obaigwa, a.k.a. Afadhali Nyakoe. That I think makes my night. Afadhali Nyakoe, I don't know why that one comes in. You say embroidery. Embroidery, and you have Madame Beatrice Osoro, if you like, Betty. You remember this name?
Yes, my
Beatrice,
name.
Locally, but it's Beatrice. Beatrice Osoro of St. Joseph's Primary School. We thank you very much for watching. Polycarp Odewa, you say tailoring, and you also say sewing machine, not sewing. Sewing machine.
Right.
Yes, sewing. George Adede of Migosi, you say promulgate. To promulgate or promulgate, you also say fidget or fidget. Professor Alphonse Omolo, thank you for watching from Kiboko Bay, Kisumu, and we also love you so much. Those who love good English, I know you love Friday Briefing and any other program on KTN News or KTN Home. But let us now go straight to the surprise word for tonight. I brought a fairly simple word, Betty,
should be the last time because we've run out of time.
You say dowry. You say dowry, not dowry. Finally, we have root. We have route. Betty, you've made me to make a mistake there, but please, it's because of time. You say route. This is a verb, R-O-U-T, route. To route, that is to beat completely, and then route. Route. You have to distinguish the difference. Route, R-O-U-T-E, route, R-O-U-T. Otherwise, Betty, it was great sharing with our dear viewers.
Yes, yes. Well, it's always great having you here on the show. We'll revisit those two words next time here on the show. Now we've run out of time, and it has been a pleasure. Remember, you can reach Willis at WillisTeaching1. That is his Twitter handle. But for now, it's time for me to say goodbye. It has been fantastic having you here on the show. I really appreciate your company. Have a fantastic weekend. Be kind to one another, and we'll see you again next week, God willing. All right? Goodbye. I'm Betty Kialo.